Hey everyone, it's Ellis, and this is the patch 12.19 patch preview rundown that is on the highlights channel, I think, because the main channel has too many uploads this week. But anyways, Fizz, so this is the beginning of the patches that are supposed to be very big, right, that Riot said would end up happening. So let's take a look here. EAP ratio, 75% to 90%. Doesn't really matter. Fizz is lacking too much damage, especially since the durability update. Even before the durability update, Fizz was lacking too much damage. Getting 15% on Fizz's AP ratio doesn't do enough when you consider that Fizz does not have very good access to a lot of CS in the game. And so Fizz naturally is going to have less gold as the game goes on. Fizz is very dependent on getting gold in order to complete the items. And Fizz is not typically a high AP user because Fizz buys a lot of utility AP items in order to play the game. So a 15% AP increase is just not enough. Maybe it affects the wave clear to some extent, like in mid-game with like a Playful Trickster EE in order to do a wave clear, but that doesn't really matter. Udyr top, W minion healing, 50% to 60%, R damage to minions, 40 to 85 to 50 to 80%, Q2 minimum damage to minions, 0 to 80 to 160. That's obviously good for Udyr top, but it's disgusting that he's getting buffs. Rise, QAP ratio is going to be up by 5%, WAP ratio, 60% to 70%. So he's getting a lot more AP back into his kit. I just don't think it's actually going to do enough with some of the changes, but getting 15% AP added to a combo, and then, I mean, well, it's actually more than that. It's probably like 20 to 25% AP added into a combo is actually a pretty big deal that could be good for both Rise, mid, and top lane. Echo passive AP ratio 80 to 90%, R damage 150 to 450 plus 150% to 200 to 500 doesn't really matter. So this buff is from a level 11 forward, which is not super big. The biggest buff is obviously to the passive AP ratio. That's the only thing that really matters. I don't think this is going to do anything for Echo. If anything, it just makes Echo jungle a little bit better, but everything else not super great. Okay. Now we move on. Jinx base attack damage is going to go up by 2. R base damage to primary target, 250 to 550 to 300 to 600. So they increased it, but Jinx's R was nerfed earlier on in the year, so it's not the end of the world. The base attack damage going up by 2. I've talked about this before with people on stream. I also talked about it in the Forest Within video. It doesn't actually impact all that much, especially not in a lot of Jinx lanes where she weaves in the autos. Realistically, this converts to 1 or 2 auto attacks or something, and even in later stages of the game, it's not like super impactful. What this does is that if Jinx ends up autoing 2,000 times inside of a game, the post-game screen has more total damage dealt on average. But inside of a pro game, if you play 1,000 pro games or something, the amount of times where the 2 base attack damage difference would have converted to something meaningful inside of a game is probably like 1 in 1,000, man. It's such a ridiculously low number. Sona. Q base damage 40 to 160 to 50 to 170, and then the E slow 40% to 50%. These are really big buffs for Sona, who's already really good. She just has to be picked in good spots, and people have to bother to learn her. And then R Nasus bonus Q range 25 to 50, W attack speed slow 50% of all MS slow to 75%, and R tick rate 1 second to 0.5, same total damage. But obviously this helps him kill targets faster when it's a race situation. So these buffs were actually pulled, and I mean obviously it's totally pulled because there were professional support players that were actually playing Nasus support in solo queue and even inside of Champions queue. And I actually just wonder if Nasus was maybe potentially predicted as an unknown variable or something that they didn't want to deal with, and that's why they pulled it for the Worlds patch, which I don't have any confirmation on. It's just my assumption. Apparently, there's going to be a lot of various off-meta build buffs, and it says surprise, so I do wonder what that is. Hopefully, Happy Chime Noises is going to get some excitement on YouTube. And then for champion nerfs, Master Yi is going to get nerfed by 0.3 AD growth, and then the E true damage ratio bonus AD is going to go down by 5% as well. The real only question here is, does he have to weave in an extra auto to kill you, or 2 or something like that? That's really all that matters when you look at changes like this. And then the Rek'Sai base AD is going to be down by 3. Again, don't know if this actually affects Rek'Sai's clears with the jungle item and the burn on the monsters. Syndra champion adjustments, I've already reacted to that on my main channel. I believe that the Syndra rework is on that channel, so you guys could check that video out. Maybe I'll put it in the description or something. And then the system buffs for Mortal Reminder pulled for a later patch, and Eclipse lethality 18 to 12. What? What? Why? And now, okay, now we'll read this, okay. I've seen conversations in Western media around Blade of the Ruin King. As we've seen Mythics play out, we're more comfortable with non-Mythics being purchased first and have some thoughts on how to move to a better world for future. Some champs don't have Mythic first purposes that feel good. Bork fills a missing niche in Mythics for squishy 80 attack speed fighters, and it's a problem if many champions build Bork. And it's not a problem if many champions build Bork, especially not statistically optimal on a broad set of champs that you wouldn't expect. Any item has optimal users. It's normal for any item and isn't a reason for a nerf. Long-term, some combination of adding more Mythics for different styles of champions, playstyles, lowering the requirement to always build. I mean, this is good. I mean, realistically, League of Legends needs more items. It needs more diversity there needs to exist items that are hyper niche that are built relative to game flow. That should be the end goal. And then Riot should still have their algorithm and still have cookie cutter itemization. But there should be items that are tweaked in really specific ways that reward people for understanding itemization and being able to do it on the fly. I think that's what the item rework end goal should have been, not a dumbed down, watered version of itemization, which is what it ended up being. I don't know how this whole thing is, but obviously I'm in the middle of Worlds, and I'm doing this totally randomly. So, you know, I do not actually even know exactly how long I've been going at this. So, the Syndra changes, I don't think that anything has really happened. I don't even know what the Mortal Reminder buff is actually going to be. So, there's not really too much to comment on there. I do think that this is actually quite little for 12.19. I think that they could have done a lot more for 12.19. But again, we don't know how many various off-meta builds are actually going to be included. There are a lot of like off-meta things that are, you know, pretty popular, like maybe AP Shaco could. I mean, honestly, I think that Shaco should just be changed to become an AP champion. I think it fits his lore. I think it fits his identity a lot better. You know, the smoke and mirrors type playstyle is definitely inside of that. So I think you know, I do think that this is I mean, I think this is all good. Atrox and Eclipse, I mean, is mostly what's getting hit here, and then obviously I mean, maybe, well, you know what, okay, he has no lore right now, but I mean, you know, they can invent it. They hit the Eclipse, it hits Rost, it hits Atrox. I mean, it hits a lot of champions, actually, Eclipse getting hit. And then apparently Spider Axe has some of the off-meta things, so I'm going to quickly run over to his page right now. Take a look. Tweets and replies, and this is the most scuffed rundown one that we've ever done. So let's see if we can find them. Let's see if we can find them. Oh, little graphics on the world stream changes between plugins. Okay. Shyvana change. Okay, so we have some of them. Okay. So Shyvana change. Human EAP ratio increased from 70 to 90. Wow, that's huge. Human EAD ratio increased from 30% to 40%. That's very big. W bonus AD ratio increased from 10% to 20. Eon hit damage reduced from 3.75% AP to 3.5. Dragon E base damage reduced from 160 to 75 to 135. That is really weird. RAP ratio increased from 100 to 130%. So these are really big buffs to AP Shyvana. It's massive buffs to Demonic Embrace, but I'm not actually sure how this whole thing ties out. Extra Eclipse context, okay. General admission to final. Is that it? Is that actually it? Huh? Wait, that was it. The off-meta buffs mentioned here are to Blitz, Garen, Kai'Sa, Malphite, Nunu, Rakan, Shyvana, Tahm Kench, and oh, AP Twitch. Right, AP Twitch. I don't know what Malphite is. I don't know what off-meta build Malphite has. Nunu is for AP Nunu. Nunu's for AP Nunu. Rakan is for AP Rakan. I don't know about... Oh, Garen's for Crit Garen. Blitzcrank is for on-hit Blitzcrank. Don't know about... Oh, Tahm Kench is for AP Tahm Kench, and this is AP Twitch. Which is totally fine. Oh, attack speed Malphite. Okay. And then Shyvana, obviously, we saw it above. So I think AP Twitch support will probably be back to being good with the changes that end up coming in. It'll put him back to pre-durability patch. So that'll obviously be good because he's very lacking in the current department. So I think this is all good, guys. I think it's all good.